Hi you guys, welcome. It's been a while since I've done full-on horoscope videos. I love to do it. They're so time consuming. I've been very busy, and I still am going to be busy for a while, and so I decided to do readings that are good for 3 months. So like for a 3-month time period. I hope that's not like, I don't know, in one ear and out the other in sort of the span of 3 months. That's kind of a while, but hopefully it'll be kind of a generalization for that time, and then I'll be able to do some smaller readings too in the sort of in-between time. Go back and reference these videos, of course. Yeah, just to give you guys a little bit of sort of something. So they're for June, July, and August, and they can be for any sign in any planet, whatever resonates. I also want to say, because I am doing or the structure of these is sort of longer because they are 3 months long, and I wanted to kind of like do some extra, so they're longer. And I do have a basically they're like 4 parts. I'm giving you a general information, and then a sort of a timeline, which is just sort of a, I don't know, supplementation to the general information, and then advice and outcome for that, and then also doing an overview of your love, career, finances and stuff, and also health. And so that's what I wanted to say, was because I am sort of integrating like a health thing, just to talk about that for a minute. And this goes for everything, right? I don't really worry too much about doing readings and giving people advice, because I feel like in the end people kind of, I don't know, they end up doing what they're going to do and what they feel is right, sort of. It's just like kind of like a guidepost a little bit. So you're really looking for that familiarity. If it's not familiar, don't follow it as advice, right? And be conscious of yourself using any kind of advice, but especially things like this, as sort of like an excuse for anything. You know, and especially when it comes to your health and stuff like that, obviously, like health professionals, all that kind of stuff. But it's just kind of like a guideline. If it seems familiar, you know what I mean, you might want to go back to it and look at kind of what other information is surrounding that, right? Sort of thing. So hopefully that all makes sense. I filmed these videos. I've been traveling, so I've been filming these videos, sort of camping. That's why it's taking me so hecking long, and I'm like way behind schedule because I'm just, you know, weather and stuff like that, wind and all that. So they're kind of filmed in various locations, environments, quality. Hopefully it's not too much of a problem, the audio and stuff like that. As usual, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think, if these were helpful, if you enjoyed them. Give me a thumbs up if you can, if you'd like to, and subscribe and all that. And yes, I hope that you enjoy. Welcome, Leo, to your reading. Let's get started right away with just the kind of general energy. Some communication going on. This seems to be a running theme with everybody right now, but it's like communication that may not be super pleasant. For you specifically, coming through, maybe as people just holding their ground a little bit, maybe in sort of an aggressive way or kind of an insensitive way, for sure. But it's people who are trying to, I think, care for themselves, or maybe a situation, right, that's trying to stay stabilized within itself or something, and it's you're coming a little bit of like ahead to it. That sounds weird. Which is causing you some anxiety, I'm seeing. It could definitely be having to do with like how you perceive, how you relate to people, or situations, your environment and stuff like that, but I'm getting specifically like people. How you have related to them in the past and that kind of thing, just being a little bit focused on that, and maybe because it's coming up from your environment, from outside of you. And again, some kind of unpleasant communication. It's kind of this what I'm seeing phasing out is this idea of like things just being fine, right? That you, and also like self-confidence, like that you kind of have done no wrong and that kind of thing. And a little bit more of like a critical, self-critical and critical of other things kind of vibe, like criticisms all around, but it seems more of a, more, productive, like it seems productive, right? It seems ultimately self-loving, more like loving of others and stuff like that. Seems like something that can be productive and good, but it's not as like pleasant as what's kind of was there before. Yeah, where you kind of maybe felt like things were fine. Now they don't seem necessarily quite as fine. Yeah, and it's in sort of it's not in a vindictive kind of standpoint. Like I said, it's mostly, I think, people holding their ground, and it's just kind of freaky to you, maybe a little bit intimidating, maybe a little bit scary. You're not really sure what to think about it, maybe. But you're sort of taking it in this way, or you're having an exchange sort of with people about it, if that makes sense. And it's definitely, I'm seeing, kind of like directed towards you, like maybe criticisms towards you, whether they're from others, from yourself, or something like that, sort of definitely towards you and towards the way that you sort of relate and move about things. Or have in the past, like I said, related and sort of moved about things. So I'll pick these up. I'm going to put a little bit of a timeline down just to give us some further information about this, and then some advice, outcome, etc. Okay, timeline-wise, I'm seeing somebody. I'm definitely getting a feeling that there's people involved in this. And if it's not people, a situation or something like that, but I'm seeing a back and forth exchange for sure. And it kind of starts with somebody seeing a little bit of, I feel like I'm going to sneeze. Seeing a little bit of something that's not going right? Like having a little bit of an instinct about something, a little bit of like a sixth sense, and like trying to meet it with like, ultra positivity sort of, or like you, it's almost like somebody is seeing someone else like moving away from them, or reacting to them maybe in a sort of a negative way or something. They're anticipating that, and so they're coming to that person with like almost like promises and that kind of thing, or like trying to show them like all the good stuff or something like that, and the other person is not really like having it. They're more about communicating their truth and being who they are. And not, again, it's not like I'm seeing that this person is seeing potentially you. That's kind of what I'm getting. That's what I'm getting at. Is that's you, is what I'm seeing. Is that you're kind of anticipating a little bit of negativity that's not really necessarily that negative. It's just something that's seems negative to you, and the other person's not actually doing it to you, but you're anticipating that they're doing it to you. Does that make any sense? And so you're kind of trying to meet it, and the other person's like, okay, like I'm not really doing anything to you, and they're being pretty like straightforward, and not, not vindictive. They're being cooperative and stuff like that, but you're still kind of coming at it with this sense of like, well, look who I am, look what I can do, like look at everything that I can give you kind of deal. And again, they don't care. They're not really about it. And you're just trying to show sort of the positive things, right? And they're like not buying it kind of thing. And then things get serious. More towards the end, things get a little bit more serious. Maybe not towards the end, but towards the end of this like process. I think maybe you're going to start seeing like, okay, that like show isn't really working, and you're going to have to actually like start thinking about some of your emotions and that kind of thing, some like hurt and things like that you've experienced that cause you to react in certain ways, and to that might cause you to like see things in sort of a negative perspective and or overtly positive perspective, right? Some kind of extreme that's not necessarily exactly reality. In reality, that things are a little bit somewhere in the middle. They're not all like super meaningful kind of thing, right? Just causing you to look at all that kind of stuff. Look at yourself and your reactions and your emotions and things like that, and maybe others and their reactions and their emotions, and to take those in and take those seriously, and really start putting in a little bit work that's a little bit less superficial, I guess, and a little bit more realistic and communicative, yes, in a straightforward way. And that's where some, I think, of the fear is starting to come in. Maybe a little bit of insecurity about not being able to meet those expectations or something like that. Yeah, some of that productive kind of criticism and stuff like that. Some of that really like hard work, basically, causing a little bit of anxiety once you finally realize that you're actually going to have to do that and put in some work for yourself, right? And not just kind of do just like a reaction thing just because, you know, you're afraid of what's going to happen, but to actually put some work into creating things that will happen the way that you want them to happen, if that makes sense. Like manifesting some things that are just going to happen how you want them to happen, rather than anticipating things not happening how you want them to happen, and spending all your energy on sort of trying to mitigate those, if that makes any sense. I feel like I'm really going on a tangent here. So yeah, I'm going to pick these up. I'll put some more cards down for some advice and an outcome, and then get into love, finances, and health. Be right back. Okay, advice and outcome. And squirrel or bird? Anyways, okay, so your advice is, I want to say like to lighten up a little bit, or just kind of to sort of shift your perspective from everything being so kind of drastic, and also everything coming down to you, if that makes sense, or like back to you. And that some things just kind of are, right? And that also that like the people that are around you that you may be having some conflict with or anything like that, and other people too, that like they're there for you, that's not like it just doesn't seem as dramatic as maybe you're feeling it is. And then not to like downplay that or anything like that, but just to kind of like take a step back a little, I should say, and just kind of realize that some things, like, they fall how they fall, you know what I mean? Like, everything that happens is like an arrangement of like a ton of different things. So it's not just like coming down to like one single like meaning that's like really intense or something like that. It's just kind of like the way that things happen because they happen the way that they happen. You know, and it does have to do with like the things that people do and stuff like that, and the choices that they make, for sure. But like not every choice is made like you know, with a singular thing in mind, if that makes sense. I'm seeing that your kind of blind spot or whatever in this, where you kind of may falter, is in your analysis of situations and your analysis of others and others' motives and that kind of thing, and the sort of just external environment too, because like your strength in this has more to do with self-analysis, and remaining kind of, I don't know, it's like doing self-analysis, but still like remaining yourself, like still having that confidence, still like, I don't know, just being yourself and like being very like forward moving and that kind of thing, but just self-aware, you know what I mean? Like if you bring your self-awareness to the situation, that's kind of what you can do, if that makes sense. And then hope and encourage other people to bring their self-awareness as well. But it's like you spending all your time kind of analyzing everything around you and then reacting to it is not, I guess, helping right now. It's more about kind of like acting rather than reacting, if that makes sense. Like you want to just start from within yourself, kind of, and from an authentic place, and from a self-aware place, and critical in a productive sense, and also kind of like excited, you know what I mean? Like do things that you're excited for, so that you'll want to bring your best to them, and that you really will want to self-improve for them, if that makes sense. And your outcome card is telling me it's telling me that you can like have the things that you are kind of afraid of losing through these sort of negative interactions, or what's the word, confrontations or anything like that, or strange insights or whatever, that it's kind of through those that you'll be able to actually have what you're afraid of not having with those, if that makes any sense. Like if you kind of are fearing like loss or confrontation or something like that, that by kind of facing that and dealing with it, you can actually have a lack of that, if that makes any sense. I think just because it's like a progressive kind of thing, like this is very like productive energy to it, right? Doing a lot of self-work and just improving the way that you are for yourself, for yourself, and then for what you want for yourself and your relationships and things like that, and that the things that are around you, the challenges that are around you, are there to kind of assist in that and not to interrupt that, if that makes sense. And you can kind of see it that way, you know what I mean, rather than seeing it as something that's attacking you or breaking into your force field or something. See it as sort of like a playing field, an opportunity to move out and sort of better yourself and strengthen yourself. Okay, that was intense. So yeah, I'm gonna pick these up, put some cards down real quickly, talk about your love, finances, and health for June, July, August. Okay. Love, finances, and health. Okay, so love / like relationships, romance, friendships, anything like that, I guess, where this applies to you. I'm seeing myself having to crack my knuckles. 2 of them are even cracking. Okay, I'm seeing you really like wanting to, like, sounds so stupid, flourish as like yourself. Like really to like be who you are and like present your kind of goods, I guess. That sounds so stupid. Why am I talking like this? Yeah, to just like present like everything you have and the things that you have to offer, and to exhibit them, and just kind of like be in that like the kind of like love space that like is fully you, right? Just being very focused on that as far as like your relationships go. Like, are they allowing you to fully like be yourself, exhibit yourself, not only like get what you want to make you happy, but also like to like give what you have to make other people happy, kind of thing, right? Definitely like a positive want. And they're advising you not to temper that. Like if you kind of think that you can temper that in like a positive way or something, or just be a little bit, less, like cool it down a little bit, or to go really like fully towards something that you feel cool towards, if that makes sense, that you're not like fully invested in or something, to like really bring all your everything that you have into that, is that like it's just going to put you in a position where you're playing a role, basically, even if it's kind of like not necessarily super negative, right, but like just not like you, kind of like you're just like playing the role within the dynamic that you kind of have to play, if that makes sense. They want you to just go after like what really like heats you up, like what you like lust after, you know. That's where you're going to find success in this case. Especially if they have a dog, because the reading is going right on to my dog, so I don't know what that means, but yeah, go for what like gets you going, what is like making you excited, and what makes you feel like yourself, like really like full and good, right? And that can be good for you right now. You have the success card in what comes to you if you actually do that, so that's pretty positive, and that's a, you know, success and hope and you know, manifestation, happiness, and that kind of thing. So it's kind of positive. Financially / career or whatever, looks good, looks productive for sure. The advice here is to kind of go with what you know, or go with what you're good at, / what you've done before, what you have knowledge in, what you have experience in, that kind of thing. Don't branch out, I guess, right now, really, or focus on like conquest. That sounds weird, but like acquiring extra things and that kind of thing. What they're saying is that if you do that, you're going to kind of get into this place that's your dead end, if that makes sense. Like your dead end is going out and trying to get more. You're not going to succeed, I guess. And that if you actually stick with what you know and what you're good at and what you're experienced with, and what is kind of needed in a situation and that kind of thing, that's where you're going to actually find expansion, if that makes sense. More things coming towards you, coming in, more of an exchange, all that kind of thing, in your kind of career and finances. So definitely focus on sort of doing what you know. Do what you've either been doing or that you've done before in the past or something like that, something that you know is quite productive, and that you know that you can do well, and that you will be able to find that kind of expansion that you want through that, rather than going straight for the expansion, if that makes sense. Okay, health-wise, definitely pay attention to your environment, the things that are going on around you, and their kind of like qualities, if that makes sense, like, and lean towards things that are like warm in nature rather than cool. So like just fiery in nature rather than like maybe watery. Those are elements that are present here, but just like if you're going to go towards anything that has to do with your health, your body, your mind, anything like that, your you know, experiences that you're putting your body through, move towards things that have like a warm quality, whether that's like a spiritually warm quality or like a physically warm quality or something like that. Things that are more heated up rather than cool. Things that are a little bit more what do I want to say? A little more extroverted for sure. So involving others and things like that. Definitely pay attention to the things that are going on around you, rather than being super focused on internal stuff. I think a lot of that external stuff is going to really affect you right now, / allow you to kind of enter a place where you're more, there's a more long-term benefit rather than a shorter term kind of pleasure, if that makes sense, or like satiation or something like that, or something that like you enjoy but is not ultimately as good for you, as healthy for you, or as like mentally expansive or that kind of thing either. You can really enter a place where you have a lot more like knowledge and stuff about your own health, about yourself, your body and your mind and that kind of thing, if you move towards things that right now that are a little bit more extroverted and stuff like that. I'm seeing, especially if they're talking about spiritual type of things, or like I said, your environment and stuff like that. Go towards warm things, interactive things, yeah, physically more physical movement rather than mental movement. Really get into your environment a little bit more in that sense. Okay, I hope that that was helpful. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.